Where's the time?
So I can better model my question. Maybe I'll swing all the way to the right there.
The sound system is open.
Well, good evening, everyone. We will begin first by having someone here from Pascan Mackinac, Mr. Martin Ferreira, to just say a few words.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for being here. Pascal Martino is very pleased to have you all here and to support Vancouver and ExpoPlaza Latina and the fantastic, talented team they have, composed by Yuri, Paola, Salvatore, Yves, and the rest of the team. We try to support individuals like yourselves and companies like the ones that some of you represent, pursue their interests. So thanks again for being here, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening.
And now with Paola, which I think doesn't need much presentation. Paola.
Thank you very much. I'm going to move here. So we are live stream. Thank you to our social media team. So first of all, I want to thank all of you for being here tonight, for taking your time and to discuss about women in the Americas. It's the first time that we actually talking about this subject in ExpoPlaza Latina, although ExpoPlaza has been doing it for 5 years. It's the first time doing this, so we are very excited. And before we go there, I want to start thanking the Consulate Corp, who is here tonight with us, the Mexican Consul, Patricia Lamasa is representing. We have the Colombian Consulate with Maria Jimena. Thank you very much. Honorary Consul of Costa Rica, that we are here. Thank you very much, Senor Antonio. We have the Consul of Paraguay. Thank you very much for being here tonight again. And all of you, and I want to thank you, our speakers who are coming actually from out of town. We have Tom Rudin, that's coming from Washington, DC. It's a big difference. So thank you, Thomas, for being here. And we have Pilar Portello, which is in BC, but it's 9 hours from here, Trail BC. So thank you, Pilar, for joining us tonight. And I want to thank you, all our amazing team from ExpoPlaza Latina. Believe me, we will not be here if it wasn't because of them, their passion, their hard work, and because they believe. Somebody asked me, so why we're talking about a woman? Why is coming this about? And to be honest, yes, it's a little bit of me, I have to say, because early this year I was invited to speak in India. I was like, to speak in India, me, but woman, okay, well, I just know that I wanted to visit Taj Mahal, so I say yes. That was the main reason. I want to visit the Taj Mahal, but actually I came out with an amazing amount of knowledge, information, and I understood a lot of things about me. Sometimes I feel like as a woman entrepreneur, it's like just go, doing my thing, my passion, my heart, but we just don't know what we're doing things. Or we know, but it's so much that we don't know. And that's when I start talking to the ExpoPlaza Latina team and ask them if it would be okay to start talking and bringing this subject to BC, because what I learned while I was there, I would like that we can represent it and maybe connecting those dots. What is the opportunity for women? How can we work together better? And it's anything that we can do within the Americas. Talking to the U.S. Consul with Glenda, we have been talking with the U.S. Consulate for a long time. Is anything that we can do with the Americans? It's so much. So this is why we're here, and this is why I want to thank you all for sharing this, and because I'm hoping that you come with a lot of amount of inspiration, knowledge, and ready to do things, recreate the impact that we want. So I hope that you get that, and thank you for being tonight here. So I hope I didn't pass my 3 minutes, but thank you so much for being here again. Oh, yes, sorry. And I would like to invite from the U.S. Consulate, Sarah Wilborn. Thank you, Sarah, for coming in and sharing some voice from the consulate.
Thank you very much, Paula. I have to pass along the regrets from our Consul General, Catherine Donati. Despite what it says in your program, I'm not she. I'm her deputy, but the fact that she was unexpectedly called away means two things. One, I inherited the wonderful opportunity to be here, and so I'm very thankful for that. And two, you get to hear me read some pre-prepared remarks. I'm very sorry about that. But please don't take that as any statement of a lack of commitment or enthusiasm for the issues that are going to be discussed here tonight. In fact, this past February, President Trump and Prime Minister Trudeau jointly announced the establishment of the Canada-United States Council for the Advancement of Women Entrepreneurs and Business Leaders. The 5 pillars of that initiative include increasing the number of women in STEM, encouraging women to start businesses and become entrepreneurs, supporting and growing women-owned businesses, increasing women's access to capital, and advancing women as leaders in the private sector. Collectively, our focus is to reduce barriers that limit women's participation in business, support their professional advancement, and assist them in starting and scaling their businesses. We look forward to working with all of you here in this room and in this region to advance those initiatives. In 2015, the Global Women Entrepreneur Leader Scorecard showed that women in the Americas rank high in various categories, including gendered access to education, internet and bank accounts. In leadership opportunities, the US, Canada, Mexico, Brazil, and Panama all ranked in the top 10. And in countries where women are engaging in startups at a rate equal to men, we see Peru, Mexico, Chile, and Brazil in the top 10, outranking the United States and Canada. However, as we know, there's still a lot of work to be done. In the US and throughout the Americas, the focus needs to be on empowering women to pursue studies in business-related fields that have historically been dominated by men, and to continue to reduce barriers that limit women's participation in business. And to this end, we're very excited to hear the speakers who are here today, and to hear their experiences and ideas. On behalf of our Consul General, and on behalf of myself, thank you again for inviting us here to join you.
Thank you, Sarah. That was great. And now we'd like to invite Patricia Lamasa from the Mexican Consulate. Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you, Paola. Well, you already know, my name is Patricia de la Maza, and I'm in charge of Cultural and Media Affairs at the Consulate General of Mexico here in Vancouver. It is my pleasure and my privilege to deliver a few opening remarks on behalf of the Consul General of Mexico in Vancouver, Berenice Diaz Ceballos. She wishes to express her sincere apologies for not being here tonight. However, she sends all of you her greetings and her very best wishes for a productive and successful third edition of ExpoPlaza Latina seminar, Women in Americas, Leading the Path to Innovation and Entrepreneurship. It is in this context of the main topic of this event that I share a little bit of history about the role of women in modern Mexico. When Canada started to grant women the right to vote in 1919, many women in Mexico were still fighting shoulder to shoulder with men, one of the first social revolutions of the 20th century. Unfortunately, this did not necessarily translate into more equitable conditions for women. Mexico was one of the last Latin American countries to grant women voting rights. The law was amended at the federal level only in 1953, though women finally voted for the first time in a presidential election in 1955. I was once a legislator at the Nuevo León State Congress, and I clearly remember that in 1991, women made up less than 10% of the federal Congress. However, by 2015, this had increased to almost 40%. Opportunities for education have also evolved towards more fairness. In 2015, 50% of those registered at basic level are girls, while 49% of students at higher education are women. As for the labor market, despite remarkable progress, important gaps remain. On average, women earn, tell me about it, 30% less than men in Mexico, with a gap as wide as 39% in industrial cities, as in my beloved Nuevo León state. I came to Canada with my family in 1992, and at the time, I did not know that I would eventually become an immigrant. But if I wanted to tell a story about a successful woman, well, it would not be my own. It would be my daughter. Yeah, my daughters. Anna, she was 8 years old when we arrived in Canada. She didn't speak Spanish. Spanish, yes, she speaks Spanish. A little bit, okay? No, she didn't speak English. She now holds a PhD in science. She's a well-recognized immunologist with many publications and a patent. She works as a full-time scientist. That is a miracle. And she is a 2017 pole art Canadian champion as well. Paraphrasing the old Chinese saying, women hold up more than half the sky and represent much of the world's unrealized potential. Congratulations to all the organizers, okay, of this event, my good friend Paola, and all Ms. Murillo and her colleagues. Long live all the hardworking, struggling, and successful women, and I'm going to say in Spanish. ¡Vivan las mujeres trabajadoras, luchadoras y valientes!
Very good, Debra. Thank you so much. And just adding to that, it's for me very important to see that in Latin Vancouver, 95% of the woman has been the one making this organization.
Flexible and highly varied work schedule. Please welcome Kate Patterson of Spanish in Vancouver Consulting.
Gracias, Kelly. Hola, muy buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Kate Patterson. My name is Kate Patterson, and my business is Spanish in Vancouver Consulting. As she mentioned, providing interpretation, translation, and teaching services. I'm also a flamenco dancer, but that's a topic for a different event. Algunos de ustedes ya me conocen. Some of you already know me, but for those who don't know me, I was born in England, raised in Canada, pero tengo alma latina. Throughout my undergraduate and master's degree in Hispanic Studies, I studied and traveled extensively through the Spanish-speaking world, developing great knowledge and passion for the Spanish language and its richness and diversity, so much so that I decided to dedicate my career in working in that field. What makes me unique is that, along with my academic credentials, I often hear from Spanish speakers that they thought I was from Latin America. Ni tienes acento, me dicen. I also decided to raise my children in Spanish, and I'm proud to say that ages 6 and 8, we still communicate 100% in Spanish at home. The sincere passion that I have is also what characterizes my work with precision, integrity, and excellence. My credentials include an undergraduate and a master's degree in Hispanic Studies, a teaching certificate from the Ministry of Education, as well as a certificate in business writing, public relations, and marketing communications. And I'm also a member of the International Association for Professional Translators and Interpreters in Buenos Aires, as well as the Chartered Institute of Linguists in the United Kingdom. Some of my current work involves working with immigrants as well as translating for Translators Without Borders. I didn't go to med school, so. I look forward to working with your organization or your business, providing whatever Spanish language needs providing whatever Spanish services that you require, whether it be translating your promotional materials, your websites, or perhaps coming in and teaching not a flamenco class, Spanish class in your executive boardroom at lunchtime. Thank you very much, and please check out SpanishinVancouver.ca. Muchas gracias a todos. Fue un placer.
Thank you very much, Kate. We next welcome Dawn Gannon. She is who is launching her newest venture as a small business coach. Dawn Gannon Coaching. Her greatest passion is to help others as a personal coach to bring their dreams to life. Dawn relates to and appreciates the courage, perseverance, and creativity it takes as an entrepreneur, and gets great satisfaction inspiring others with practical tools and know-how. Her education has been a mix of life experiences, including business development, corporate training, and running an education business that helped 30 salon owners to market and build their business in BC. Formerly, she has attained a master's in education and currently teaches marketing at VCC. Personally, she has been always self-motivated with an entrepreneurial mind. Please welcome Dawn Gannon of Dawn Gannon Coaching.
Hello, my name is Dawn, and thank you to Kelly, and thank you to the team at ExpoPlaza Latina for the opportunity to speak here today. I'm going to talk a little bit about my coaching business, my newest venture as a small business coach. You may be wondering why Latin Vancouver, why am I connected? And I want to ask you, have you ever been to a foreign place and you feel right at home? Have you ever met people and connected right away? Well, that's how I feel about traveling in Latin America. That's how I feel about my friends here in Latin Vancouver. And I love the culture, I love the music, the dance. Like Kelly, I'm actually a dancer, but a salsa dancer. And I met a wonderful man, and we love to salsa. We're actually salsa addicts now. We have a problem, but it's a good addiction. And I think it connects me further to the Latin community. I love business and teaching. Kelly was good enough to share some of my experiences. I'm also passionate about helping underprivileged women, and I've been a long-time volunteer, mentor, and workshop facilitator for Dress for Success. And I was recently able to go to Costa Rica as a volunteer this past year, and I volunteered, teaching English, but I also helped women start their small businesses in a very small community with my very beginner slides in Spanish. And I think, hello, this is back. It was not easy to arrive with a beginner 1 Spanish and travel alone. And I did get lost many times, but I was able to meet and connect with some great locals there. And I can understand the importance and the difficulty for new immigrants coming into Vancouver, and the courage it takes. My coaching business is a natural extension of my love of business and wanting to help new entrepreneurs. As a small business coach, I will help you define, discover, and develop your business idea into a conceivable startup plan. And my step-by-step program will take you through, give you the tools, but also the marketing strategies to help build that dream business of yours. My ideal clients are women in transition that are changing their careers or their personal life, or they're new to Vancouver. They are women who have a passion that they've always wanted to transform into their very own small business, but just need the tools and some guidance. And I will give you the tools. I'll also help you to attract, align, and build solid relationships with your customers and your network. I believe that connection and building relationships is the key to life. Starting a new business is not easy, and I encourage you to connect with your heart and connect and align with the people here in Vancouver and the Latino community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dawn. Now, our third speaker, or third entrepreneur for the evening, is Fernanda Abbey. She's a partner of Mariah International. She's just relaunched the business about a year ago, and they connect businesses in Latin America and Canada and enable their clients to succeed in their market expansion and to navigate confidently between the different cultures. Mariah has a particular focus on education, bioscience, and tech, given Fernanda's past experiences in biotech and the medical fields. She has studied project management, business administration, and has a master's degree of science in interactive media. Personally, Fernanda grew up as an entrepreneur, including selling popsicles and comic books she was sharing with me, and has a deep desire to build something. Please welcome Fernanda Abbey of Mariah International.
Thanks, Kelly. Hi, my name is Fernanda. I'm from Brazil, and I'm a partner at Mariah International, building bridges between Canada and Latin America. In our current political and social reality, it is essential to develop new ventures and business relationships. Expanding globally gives you the opportunity to explore new markets, discover new ideas and concepts, and of course, to increase your revenue. Latin America has a population of 640 million, and by 2020, it's expected that 1 in every $10 in the world economy will come from Latin America. It is surprising, however, how businesses often forget what venturing to a new country means. As a newcomer in a foreign market, you face not only a language barrier, but deep cultural differences and an unknown competitive landscape. But the most important and often forgotten resource in a successful expansion is creating business connections and having key local partners that will help you during the process. And that's where we come in. Our team has an extensive experience in connecting Latin America and Canada. As the founder of Latincover, our CEO, Paola Murillo, has been a very important presence in the Latin community here in Vancouver for the past 9 years. And at Mirai International, what we do, we help companies build their businesses in Canada or in Latin America by planning a market entry strategy. Thank you, Salvatore. By planning a market entry strategy, organizing business missions and events, developing an intercultural marketing plan, and connecting you with key local business partners. Our international network and deep knowledge of Canada and Latin America enables our clients to overcome international challenges, navigate across cultures, and build sustainable business relationships along the way. We offer all the necessary tools for an efficient and successful expansion. So, where do you guys want to go next? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Fernanda. I think I want to go to Latin America as my next vacation. Haven't been to Chile yet, so I think that's our next one. Our fourth and final of our entrepreneur joining us tonight is Laura Guzman of Sintegra Clean Tech Solutions, which is a recent joint venture with her other company, Integra Clean Tech Consulting. Sintegra measures, manages, and reduces the carbon footprint of hotels and airports in Latin America. They also provide Canadian clean tech solutions to reduce those energy costs and improve environmental performance. Laura has a graduate degree in Science and Technology Commercialization, a master's in Economic and Environmental Geography, and an undergrad in Finance and Economics. Personally, she has enjoyed crafting a business that pulls all the experiences she has and interests she has in together. Please welcome Laura Guzman of Sintegra Clean Tech Solutions.
Everybody. Thank you, Pao, and the organizers for this opportunity. Well, I'm Laura. I'm from Mexico. I'm an immigrant, as many of us are. After working for about 17 years in the technology sector and business development in Latin America, I came to Canada and I decided to start all over again, as many of us did. I switched my career to something that I thought it was more novel and was helping me to really feel that I was able to create a change. And I chose a career fighting for climate change. So I would say that's my passion, that's my main passion. However, over the years working with the BC government, and now that I started my own consulting company, I have learned that the only way that we can actually succeed in reducing emissions and fighting for climate change is if we make it economical. The only way to work with business and to get consumers to change their behavior is having an economic driver. So that's my mission, and that's the mission of Sintegra. Delivering an economic driver to hotels and airports so they can actually reduce their emissions because they are reducing their costs, and also they are using innovative technologies. I start working with Canadian technologies only, but of course we're open to work with other technologies. So what Sintegra does is three things. We first measure and help managing emissions reductions from hotels and airports in Latin America. Then we provide the clean technologies that will help actually realizing those emissions reductions and practices that we have recommended. And the third thing is we provide a certification to airports that is the only official carbon management standard globally, and it's called Airport Carbon Accreditation. So Sintegra, together with our sister company Synergy, we're the only company approved to provide this accreditation in Latin America. My ask today is for two things. One is helping us expanding our network of Canadian applications that can actually reduce emissions and costs. And also, if you have connections with any hotels or airports in Latin America that are interested in reducing their emissions and costs, please let us know. Thank you very much.
very much. I think it's been mentioned a few times that we're a strong, supportive community here, and we're actually stronger together. So on that note, each entrepreneur has something they could use some help on, as Laura mentioned about what they ask. So Kate is looking for companies that need Spanish language support, including in the medical field. Dawn is looking to connect with complementary services to small businesses. Fernanda would like to connect with partners such as those willing to host a Latin American student when they're visiting Vancouver on an education tour. And Laura is seeking Canadian clean tech companies and Latin American hotels and airports to match together. So I encourage you to reach out to them. We have their contact details up on the slide right now. You can take out your phone as you're posting it on social media. You can also take a screenshot there and able to contact them afterwards. But of course, they'll be networking at the end of the evening to connect with each other. So I encourage you to do that and continue to support women in the Americas in entrepreneurship and innovation. Thank you.
So thank you, Kelly, and thank you for everyone for their pitches. What I will now do is I will do a brief introduction of all the speakers that we have. So I'm going to call their names, read a little bit about their bio, and then each one is going to present. So we will start, as here in your program, with Fariba Pachelet. She is a senior IT project manager. She is a nonprofit, also board director, passionate leader, and strategic thinker with over 25 years of combined industry and advisory service experience in corporate management roles and on nonprofit boards. She's the vice chair of the Web Alliance of Women's Business in BC. And in 2017, she was selected as one of the 150 women leaders to be engaged in a 3-year national project to promote diversity and gender equality. Ladies and gentlemen, please, Ms. Fariba Pachelet. So I'll just ask everyone, and then I'll ask you to come. Oh, sure. Because then you're not alone. No, you can sit. Okay. You're going to relax. You get to be in the big kids table. Right? That's, well, not the big adults table. Okay, and then the second person that I would like to call to the table is Mr. Tom Rudin. So he's the director on the board of higher education and workforce at the National Academy of Sciences. He works with a distinguished group of educators and researchers to provide government, academic, and industry leaders with analysis, insights, and recommendations designed to inform actions on issues in higher education and the science, engineering, and medicine workforce. He has been an executive level manager of both small and large advocacies and government relations teams. His expertise includes federal and state public policy and advocacy, leading and mentoring both large and small staff teams, and public speaking and human rights and social justice, both domestically in the US and globally. Ladies and gentlemen, please, Mr. Tom Rudin. And then we have Ms. Jill Earthy, I have here on my notes, Chief Growth Executive, I really like that, Chief Growth Executive of Front Funder, an entrepreneurially minded leader who believes diversity drives innovation. She is currently the Chief Growth Officer of Front Funder, an online investment platform connecting entrepreneurs and investors. She has built 2 companies and sold them, and then spent 8 years in nonprofit leadership roles supporting entrepreneurs. She serves on the board of governors of Simon Fraser University and as a board chair of the Women's Enterprise Center. And she recently co-founded the Raise Collective to engage more women and to invest in early stage companies. Ms. Jill Earthy. Pilar Portela. CEO of Astra Systems IC4 Innovation Center. She's the senior executive with over 20 years experience in business operations, project management, and executive leadership roles in a variety of industries. Currently she works as CEO of Astra Systems, a clean tech startup developing platform using Internet of Things, IoT, and big data to achieve prescriptive analytics using sustainable techniques. She has worked in strategic environment, translating business drivers into actionable and measurable results. She has deep understanding of software development and has recently successfully developed the implementation of software projects with teams across multiple time zones and complex environments. Her role as CEO of Accelerate Okanagan allowed her to connect and understand businesses and BC's interior and their approach to success. And finally here at our table, we will have journalist Monica Fonseca. Monica is a leader of force of the fabulous Latin America for E. Simultaneously, she is a highly recognized personality within social media. Since 2007, she is part of the Environment Ambassadors for the United Nations, linked to different social and philanthropic projects, such as spokesperson for the Millennium Development Goals, member of the board of directors of the Natalia Ponce de Leon Foundation, and ambassador to the Juan Fe Foundation. Monica Fonseca. Thank you, everybody. Pariba, please.
Hey, now it's my turn.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Paula. And thank you, Latin Vancouver. And you see, guys, I'm very, very eager to start my talk. So I was there. Let me see if I can move this. Okay, so I had actually a longer presentation, but I want to make it short. So I'm an immigrant, and I'm from Iran. Before I start, I want to, with a show of hands, how many of you are first-generation immigrants here? Very well. And how many of you have been business leaders or entrepreneurs, successful one in your own country before you immigrate to Canada? Quite a few of you. So I was one of you. Like, I graduated in hardware engineering, so I was very successful before I come to Canada. And being from a country that women are second-degree citizens, that was not an easy task to become successful as a woman. But in 6 years, I was in a director role. You had CIO in here. So when I came to Canada, first I thought, wow, this is a country that I don't feel as a second-class citizen, and I'm going to have a lot of opportunities. So I knew that I have to spend a few years, to learn about, to be more fluent in English, don't judge myself too much when I'm talking, and also learn about the system, the culture, and everything. But what happened after? So I thought that I'm delivering a lot of things, but I'm stuck in mid-level management, or even lower than that, lower-level management. So I started and decided, okay, I'm doing all of these projects. Let's look at it as a project. And I started to see what I'm going to do about it, because I want to change the status quo. So what what I noticed is, in order to get to I found out that all of the people in the boardrooms, they are paid really well. So I said, this is going to be my retirement plan, right? To be in a boardroom. But then, to get to the boardroom, what do you need to do? You need actually to have like executive role, and I wanted to get to executive role. Then I looked at, there are not many women in executive role or in boardrooms, and there are not many people with accent, and I am both. So I wanted to challenge the status quo. So I learned about what are the meaning of leaders and leadership, and I thought, well, this is the meaning, and I'm focused on organizational leadership, so I want to be to that level. So this is the definition of it: process of influencing and directing people for achievement of a certain goals, building and maintaining team, delivering individuals. Great, I've done it before. I have been very successful, but in my own country, not here. So in 2012, I decided to put things together. The first thing I noticed was that the challenges women in general are dealing with. So that's a known thing. And as you know, I think Jill and I, we were actually both in 2 events last week in Vancouver, and there are lots of activities are happening right now in Vancouver that they're trying to deal with like inequity and gender bias and all of those things. But as women